Identifying.
The king of cakes. Choppa for the win.
G'day guys, welcome back to Cakes by Choppa. Are you obsessed with Squid Game as much as I was? I literally watched the whole thing in one sitting. I had to make this cake, so I've made a staff member's head that's been chopped off brutally just in time for Halloween. If you want to learn how to make it, stick around. To get started, you're going to bake your cake. I'm going to take the template, cut out both sides, put one to the side so we can use it later, and cut out two of these faces and stack them on top of each other, and then trim it down and carve the front of the face because we want to get that nice rounded mask shape. The color of this beautiful cake comes to you courtesy of the Sugar Art. Sassy pink, as you can see, it's true to color. Absolutely love it. If you want to get your hands on this template, just head over to the Cakes by Choppa Facebook page. Also, while you're at it, you can hop over to Instagram and TikTok and follow me on my other socials if you so desire. Once you get rid of all your crumbs, you can apply a little bit of ganache onto your board. This is just to help the cake stick a little bit. I'm going to place that down, and then we can fill our cake and then give it its first crumb coat. Now once you've got your crumb coat on, you're going to go out and smooth that as much as you can, then pop it into the fridge, and then you come back and you can smooth it again, add a little bit more ganache wherever you'd like to, and just keep it nice and smooth, because the better you smooth this out, the better the fondant is going to look on top. Now the easiest way I can think to do this, we're going to roll out a thin layer and cover it, and then do another thin layer with the detailing. Don't worry too much about what this looks like because we're going to add some more on after, making sure it covers from the front to the back. As you can see, I'm not too worried about pleating because we are going to put more fondant over the top. That's why it's important that this layer stays very, very thin. A little trick I haven't shared in a while is to ball up some of your excess fondant, making sure there's no chocolate on it, and then go over and buff your fondant. This is going to smooth it out in a way that you cannot achieve with anything else. For this next part, we're going to roll out the black fondant that will fit the mask in it with a little bit either side. Do a nice straight line all the way across. And we're going to bring this over and thin this layer out just a little bit more. So when you put them back together, you should see this one is slightly higher. Now, as you can see on the template, this has got holes in it. The trick I'm going to do here is I've got some travel combs. I'm going to get that because that seems to fit the holes nicely. I'm going to snap off this little bit that's going to help me punch holes all over the fondant. This is probably the longest process. If you want to leave yours blank, feel free to do so. Now you can see I've actually cut this off wrong. I noticed that there's an extra line here. What I'm going to do is put the template over the top of that. I'm going to go around and cut a little bit bigger than the actual template itself. Now what I've done is I've hidden that seam down the middle. So we should be able to peel that away. Use a bit of edible glue, moisten the top, and then you can stick the bottom half of the mask on. Lay that on, making sure the chin is down far enough. I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of a break here. I'm going to pre-cut this so I know where I have to go through. Okay, now this I have to be a bit more careful with to not get a line because as you can see there's no seam here, it's just the top part. Now for this top piece, be extra careful as I said. Try and line them up, put it on the line and let the comb do the work. And we're going to place that level with this one. Now you don't want to push that too much. You want to keep that nice and flush. Now that I've rolled a long snake, I'm going to carefully trim and go again. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but some of you all might even have a tool that'll do it. But on this channel, I'm the tool doing it. Okay, as you can see on the template, there's a nice strip across the front, which I'm going to do just like that. Now for this middle seam down the front, I've got two strips the same size. I've just rolled out a middle piece that's a little bit flatter, and I'll trim that off even. Now I've created that middle strip and we'll bring that onto the mask very carefully. And you should be able to stick that flush. Now I wasn't going to do this, but I've decided I want to finish off the edges of the mask. So I'm going to do another 2 strips to go around the bottom and the top edges of the mask. I think that just finishes off that edge of the mask beautifully. All right, it's time to move on to the hoodie. I've got this gorgeous pink fondant, which the color again is Sassy Pink by the Sugar Art, part of the Master Elite collection. To get the hoodie texture, there's a couple of methods. You can use this beautiful press and seal. You can see it's got like a fine pattern on it, and it comes out really well on the fondant. But there's another way. You can use some cling wrap. You press this onto your fondant, and it'll give you that material seam. And you can just use a tool to go through and just redefine that a bit better and add some stitching. Now I'm sort of going to roll this out in a long, odd sort of shape, keeping that top part as the front. You can use the template to measure how high you need the hoodie. Now I know I need it at least that high. So I'm going to use this round edge. Now I'll just trim off this much. Give it a nice roll. Now using that seam from the calico, roughly in the middle, and then just give it a good push. You can see that's left a beautiful seam, which I can now accentuate, and then add some stitching. Add some edible glue all around the edge where you want your hoodie to stick. Now I'm gonna go trim off the excess from around the sides. And this is where I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and stick with the theme of Squid Game. I've got some jelly or jam, put in some red food dye. This is my favorite way to make some blood. Now I've grabbed a handful of offcuts, put them in. Obviously he's been decapitated. Now I'm gonna get that piece, support it like that. Obviously trim it off neat. Got a little bit of pink petal dust, and I'm gonna put a little bit of red in there just to darken it up. Tap off the excess, and then just go give his hoodie some extra texture. Okay, now we are on to the final step. I've got some white food paint here. We're gonna put on the shape on the mask. Now I've got just enough on my brush to not be too wet. If you put too much, it's gonna fill those holes and look a bit weird. Okay, last minute I decided we're going to put in a zip. All right, that's it, you're done. There is your Squid Game staff member head. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and all that jazz. Send it to someone you know who you think would like it. And also please check out the creator I've tagged at the end of my video. I do this every single video to introduce you guys to new people that are creating amazing content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye guys.